Stage 1 begins the perilous journey of the future Titan main. As they enthusiastically select the tanky-looking character for the first time, they have no idea about the wild adventure they just signed up for. The early Titan armor is actually pretty slim and light, so at this point they're completely unaware that they will someday evolve into a giant walking refrigerator. As they progress through their first few missions as a Titan, they are extremely clumsy with their jump because they're constantly messing up the timing. It is in this stage when they have their first Titan moment, as they intuitively make use of their melee ability for the first time. And they proceed to clear an entire room of enemies with only their fist. They don't really think about it much at the time, but this moment represents the foundation for their future as a Titan main. As they cast their first super and wield their first shotgun, they fall in love with their class and they're ready to progress to Stage 2. Stage 2 is when some of the defining characteristics of a Titan main start to show up, but these characteristics are still really underdeveloped, and they still kinda suck at being a Titan. Why is it so slow?
Dude, seriously?
So is this some kind of puzzle? They learn the basics about what it means to be a Titan, and perhaps they take some advice from their role model, Commander Zavala.
As a Titan, you lead the charge.
After their first few hours of playing, the Titan main finds himself punching everything in sight, and this begins a new trend. Since they're rewarded with a kill for almost every punch in low-level content, they just continue to bulldoze their way through missions and they rarely use their primary weapons. At this point, the Titan may or may not have stumbled across this lore page, but they know one thing for certain: their fists do not need reloading. They proceed to sprint their way through a bunch of quests and they start to acquire some basic gear and weapons. This new loot makes them significantly more powerful, but they're still constantly dying as they sprint headfirst towards everything, whether it's a red bar enemy, a massive strike boss, or a crucible opponent who's in a bubble and probably 10 times better than them. They've definitely discovered the most basic Titan habits, but at this point, they're just scratching the very surface of what it means to be a Titan main. By Stage 3, the Titan has unlocked a variety of shaders, and they decide it's time to do something about their basic and ugly fashion. This is actually a very interesting stage for the Titan main, because they approach fashion in a very different way than the other classes do. While Hunter mains exclusively wear black shaders in order to be as edgy as possible, Titan mains have a variety of colorful shader options to choose from. Inspired by the vibrant Crayola palette, the Titan main selects several of their favorite colors to make a truly stunning display that stands out from all of those boring hunters. By Stage 3, they've also unlocked a bunch of bulky armor to transmog, so they slap together the most ridiculous pieces until they look like an absolute unit. Of course, there are some Titans who don't embrace such extreme fashion choices, but one way or another, the Titan significantly transforms their appearance in this phase, and then they're ready to progress to Stage 4. With 50 to 100 hours of playtime under their belt, Titan mains in this stage start to do some mid-level activities. They acquire some really good ranged weapons, and they select their favorite snipers, scouts, and pulses. They proceed to open their inventory and promptly dismantle every single one of these weapons. Titan mains are absolutely disgusted by long-range weapons, and they closely associate them with those cowardly hunter and warlock mains. The Titan main knows that they were born to be a space knight, especially since so many of their abilities and exotics directly support the way of the fist. Although using their fists has been an important part of the Titan main's toolkit since Stage 1, by Stage 5 they discover what it truly means to be a master of close quarters combat, and they completely dedicate themselves to the mantra of, when in doubt, punch your way out. They make their first meaningful builds centered around melee abilities, and they probably fall in love with one in particular, like the throwing hammer. Titans in this stage might make Reddit posts like this one, and they get a massive dopamine rush from just flying around and meleeing everything in the room. Titans in this stage make the glorious discovery of some really powerful melee builds with exotics like Syntheseps and Dune Marchers, and they definitely crank their strength and resilience stats as high as they possibly can. They love melee-focused perks like 1-2 punch that really elevate their builds to the next level. As they become masters of all melee abilities, Titans in this stage can often be seen running in a straight line. After all, the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. For mouse and keyboard players, this means that they only need to press the W key, and it typically gets worn out faster than all of the other keys. Some Titans in this stage might even decide to take it to the next level. The Titan main kind of continues all of the habits they formed in the previous stage, but they also begin to evolve beyond just punching, and they start to develop some new tactics that will define their playstyle going forward. Every Titan in this stage has a moment where they see another Titan who's in stage 10 and they're just awestruck by the sheer destruction they unleash upon their foes. They want to become just like them, and they decide they'll do whatever it takes to get there. After welcoming their fellow Titan mains with a proper Titan greeting, they team up and start to learn some more advanced Titan techniques. One such technique, of course, involves getting a certain weapon out of the vault. You know, the one weapon that was made specifically for Titans. The sweet business. Pairing with the Actium War Rig exotic so that they can fire almost forever, the Titan main experiences a feeling of raw power that they never thought was possible. Even Shaxx recognizes that at this point, the player now behaves like a true Titan main.
You wage war like a true Titan.
They realize that supers, swords, and melees are obviously the only proper ways to move around, and they must be used whenever possible. They also realize that since apes are stronger together, they can deal serious damage to a raid boss if several Titans use their super at the same time.
Guardian down. Guardian down. Guardian down. Guardian down.
Around this time, the Titan main may also become obsessed with the Crown Splitter exclusive sword, and they happily add it to their toolkit. They have some truly epic hero moments as a Titan, and at this point, they can't imagine playing any other class. They have a blast playing the game in the most Titan way possible, but unfortunately, all of this fun may come to a screeching halt if they progress to the next stage. After a few hundred hours of playing, the Titan main is suddenly met with an unsettling realization. They're great at being a Titan, but that might be the only thing they're great at. As a result of their over-reliance on their melee in the earlier stages, they don't have much experience with primary weapons, and they begin to develop a crippling fear as a result. This leads them to resent hunters and warlocks, who have usually developed a decent primary shot and a variety of builds that don't depend on melee abilities by this stage. The Titan main begins to feel kind of useless because relying on melee abilities can work well in low-level content, but getting up close and personal can be a really bad idea in a lot of endgame activities. They start to blame everyone else for their shortcomings, and they say Titans are just afterthoughts because Bungie doesn't care about them and no developers or content creators are Titan mains. Hunters in particular become their mortal enemies, and they might make fun of them for their non-stop hopping tendency, and they love to remind them about the death of Cade, their beloved hunter vanguard. Titans in this stage will shotgun melee everyone in the Crucible before teabagging them, and they make it their goal to just piss off everyone who isn't a Titan. Yeah, nice heart scoping, buddy. They just feel frustrated. Like, what's the point of being the so-called tank class if they have exactly the same health as everybody else? Why do other players take Titans for granted and always force them to run bubble? The Titan main begins to feel that being a Titan just kinda sucks. Eventually, the player returns and reinstalls the game, but at least for the moment, they are no longer a Titan main. They start playing Warlock or Hunter because they figure that if they can't beat them, they might as well join them. However, this experience gives the Titan main a newfound sense of respect for the other classes, and they learn quite a bit about their strengths and weaknesses. With this fresh perspective, the Titan learns how to better counter the other classes in PvP, and they feel really grateful when they're lucky enough to have a big safe Titan bubble on their team. They feel what it's like to be on the receiving end of a Titan shoulder charge, and in that moment, they kind of miss being a Titan. As they explore the other classes for a few weeks, they become the ultimate fireteam healer warlock or the most crazy space cowboy hunter, but eventually, they realize that deep down, they were meant to be a Titan main. Stage 9 is the dedicated phase of the sweaty tryhard. Upon returning home to their class, the Titan main doubles down on everything that defines their class, and they make it their goal to be the greatest Titan to ever exist. As their playtime climbs into the thousands of hours, they might embark on a mission to be the most terrifying player in every Crucible lobby. And of course, they must complete the following steps when creating their clan to reflect this new identity. Step 1. The clan name must be an obscure vocabulary word chosen at random by a word generator. Step 2. The clan description must read invite only without any other text. Step 3. The only other members must be other tryhards who think they're better than everyone else regardless of their actual skill level. This stage often also involves quite a few Eververse transactions because obviously the best way to get good is to buy a whole bunch of ornaments and perfect your Titan fashion. The next order of business is exploiting the most busted things in the game at the time. There have been a lot of broken Titan things over the years, and Titans in this stage never hesitate to use the One-Eyed Mask, Antaeus Wards, Behemoth Stasis, Loreley Splendor, Doom Marchers, and anything else that makes them unstoppable. At this point, the Titan main just doesn't care about using something that they might have previously considered to be cheesy. They'll do whatever it takes to win. They learn more advanced tactics, like using their shoulder charge only as a movement ability, peek shooting with their barricade, and they discover that standing really close to your barricade makes it impossible for opponents to melee you. Titans in this stage become incredibly powerful, and they're so dedicated to their craft that they even know which color of crayon has the best flavor. Many Titans never progress past this stage because they've achieved a lot and become quite good at the game, but some may have a change in mindset that advances them to stage 10. Although very few Titan mains ever reach stage 10, those who do become legendary players in the Destiny community. They have a nuanced understanding of every single Titan ability in the game, and they use them together perfectly to achieve optimal results and dominate every activity in the game. While they still love to use their powerful melee abilities, they realize that there's a whole lot more to being a Titan than holding down the forward button, and they're proud to have mastered Destiny's least popular class. In a world full of Warlock rifts and Hunter dodges, they choose the way of the fist. Now that you've lived through the journey of every Titan main, check out the 10 stages of every Destiny 2 player, or the 10 stages of every Hunter main. Somehow 88% of you guys are not subscribed, so hit that subscribe button. We're growing pretty fast and I really want to reach 200k. Big thanks to my Patreon and Discord supporters for making this video possible. Oh no, I missed!